everybody, it's Lisa. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be another Homeschool Diaries video where we go over what's been going on in our homeschool, how things are going, what's going well, or what we need to make changes. And at the end of the video, I have a very large life change to share with you guys, so make sure you stay tuned until the end of the video so that you can hear all about it. Okay, let's get started. So as far as homeschool is concerned, homeschool is going really well. We are still at 3 days a week. Since the last time I made a video with you guys, we had our week break. Remember, I scheduled out for the kids to stagger in when starting school, and then we would have a week break. Well, we took a 2-week break because something very big happened in our family. A lot of things that go on and take place, it's a lot of things that's happening with other people, and I'm present, I'm involved in those things, but it's not my story to share, so I can't really go into details on things, but a lot of things outside of my household have taken place, and so I had to step away for that. And life happens, life will continue to happen, and so for me, it's all about how we get up when things knock us off our square and when life continues to happen. And so it has been happening for myself, and I'm going to start off with self-care this time because while life has been happening, it has been extremely difficult for me, and so that is where making sure that I am taking care of myself comes into play. Now, I am an empath. I take on the problems of other people and I hold them on my shoulders, and I try to carry them for other people, but I forget to take care of myself. And so I am working extremely hard with my therapist to make sure that I am putting myself first. I am reminding myself that things that take place or things that happen to other people, it's not happening to me. And I'm reminding myself that it is okay for me to still desire and have a beautiful life, even if other people are struggling. I struggle with that a lot because I feel like if someone else is struggling, how dare I continue to have, a good life? Or how dare I have a beautiful life when I am deserving of a good life? And if you are going through something similar, or someone you know is going through something similar, remember that you are deserving of a good life, whatever that looks like for you. And I am grateful, so grateful for my therapist. I've been seeing her for years, and she knows me very well. She knows everything that's going on in my life, and I am grateful to have her. I am happy that I am so in touch with myself to where I am not scared, afraid, or I'm not embarrassed to admit that, I struggle with anxiety and depression, and that I am being proactive and getting help. And so I am here to encourage you, whatever you're going through, please do not hesitate to get the help that you need for yourself. The only way that I can be myself for my husband and for my family is if I am taking care of myself. And so I am at the point where I refuse to put anyone before I put myself, because it's my responsibility to care for me. That is big. I am capable of caring for myself, and God has blessed me with this life because He thought that I could care for it. And so I am saying that to you. God has blessed you with whatever the life is that you have. It is your responsibility to take care of the blessings that He has provided you with. If you can't care for what you have, then it's going to be very difficult for God to continue to give you more. And I know that you are deserving of all things wonderful, so I really want you to take a step back and think about the care that you're giving to yourself. Are you giving yourself enough care? And I'm not talking about the physical things. I'm talking about the emotional, the mental help that you need. And so I feel like this season that I am in is all about reaping what I've sown. I have for so long I feel like I've been preparing for a moment like this when life got very hard for me and when outside things have been happening. I feel like I have been a support system for so many people, that I have shown up, that I have given when I could financially. I've given my time when I could. I've given and poured so much into people. I feel like I've planted so many positive seeds in the world, and I feel like right now God is reminding me of all those wonderful things, all those wonderful seeds that I've planted, not only in myself, for myself, but in my family, in my husband, and my kids, and people around me. And now it's time for me to sit back and watch those things grow. So all the work that I've done for myself over the past, I would say, over the past year of making sure that I am in therapy, making sure that I'm, meeting all doctor's appointments for myself that I have, making sure that I am on top of school for my kids so that I don't fall behind, making sure that I was preparing as much as I could with their curriculum, and making sure that I was testing out curriculum so that if life happened, and when, I shouldn't say if, but when life happened for me, I was able to still continue. Now, I took off an extra week because it was something that was really needed. However, we got right back up and we continued. And that is what it's all about. It's about how you get up after you've been knocked off of your square. And so I'm not afraid to say that I'm proud of myself and how I'm handling this. It's very difficult. It's very hard. And I know it might sound weird for you because you have no idea what I'm talking about, but it's hard. We all go through hard seasons. But I'm continuing to show up for my family because God said so. Because I know that I'm not alone. Because I know that He has never left me. I know that He will never forsake me. And I know that He is the same God now that He was when life was easier. And so I know that I have, if nothing else, I have a friend in Him. And so I am going to continue to be positive. I'm going to continue to focus on what I need to do for my husband, myself, my babies, our school, and our household. And that is what I encourage you to do no matter what life throws at you. Remember your focus. And so with that being said, I didn't mention my husband, but I am making sure that I'm showing up for him as well. Now, as far as school is concerned, my word of the year was discipline. I wanted to make sure that I had more discipline, and I'm definitely doing that. Honestly, I feel like if it was last year even and things were taking place as they are now, I would have done things a bit differently. However, I am still getting up and still getting school done most of the days. Now, I know that I am easing my way into 5 days a week, and I thought I would be at 5 days now, but I am not, and that is okay. But my babies are still learning. We are still having a great time, and they cannot see a difference. Now, I said I was going to wait until the end to share with you a life change, but I'm going to share it with you guys right now. So with everything that's been going on and everything that's been happening that has really taken a toll on me and my mental health, and as much as I try not to, I know that it is impacting me. My teenager has, we've had a lot of outside influence on just wanting him to be in school, in public school. And that's something that we said we were going to do previously. We said that we were going to let him go to high school. But as you know, I couldn't decide what I was going to do, and then I decided that he was going to stay home. Well, one night I was sleeping and I was praying, just my general prayers, my normal prayers that I do over my family, and I felt God push me and tell me that it was time to let him go to a traditional school setting, or let him go back into the traditional school setting. And so as hard as that was for me, I woke up, I talked to my husband about it. He was on board, which previously he was not, but he was on board. And we talked about it, we prayed about it, and we thought that it would be the best decision for this season in our life. So we had already registered Cameron for high school. We registered him in May when I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. I wanted to see if he was meeting the requirements that he needed. For my own sake, it wasn't that I was going to put him in the school, but it felt like I needed to know. I needed to know if I was doing everything right. I needed to know if, he had been learning. I wanted to know if I had been holding his documents appropriately. I wanted to know if I had been, like his grades and everything. I just wanted to know for myself more than anything. It was just confirmation for me. Cameron had no idea that I did that. So when I submitted all of our documents, I said May, but it was actually early June. I submitted his report card. I submitted anything that they needed from me. I went ahead and submitted it, and he was accepted into that school in 2 hours. I did everything online. So he was accepted into the school in 2 hours. So if any of you are scared or fearful, just know that I have done it. I have pulled him out of school, and then I successfully enrolled him in school with absolutely no issues at all. Cameron was offered honors classes for biology, algebra 1, ELA, and his history course. He also was he made so he was offered honors classes for those. So advanced practice, history class, and then the others was the science, the English, the biology, the English, the math was all at an honors level. So I thought that I would throw that in there for those of you who were concerned or wondering, if your kids are doing this. That's what my kid was offered. Every kid is going to be different. They're all going to test differently. I can just tell you what it was like for us here. So that is what he was offered. He also tried out for football, and he made the football team. Now, before he made the football, or we didn't know what classes he would take yet until after he made the football team. With Cameron making the football team, we still had not decided that we were going to put him in school. Like, I was full on, he'll be homeschooled this year. We'll think about it again in January. That's what we told him, and life was going to go on. We actually were preparing for him to go to a private school, but he ended up going to a public school. So the day before our public school started, I felt a pull in my heart to sign him up, or to continue with it. Because I had already submitted everything in June, everything was just like, all he needed to do was just walk into the school, and he had everything already prepared for him. So we told him that day. We gave him his schedule because we already had it. We just were hanging on to it because we didn't know what we wanted to do. So we gave him his schedule, and the next day he went to school. And it was bittersweet for him and I. My husband was excited for him. Jace and Savannah were excited for him, but again, it's bittersweet because he left our schoolroom and he went to high school. And so that was a very emotional day for me. He had a blast at school, and he's been having a blast ever since. So that is that. As far as getting into the reason why I sent him back, I feel like saying that I felt God tell me to do it is enough for me. And if anyone asks, that is exactly what I tell them, because I felt like the timing was right, and I felt like that's what God wanted me to do. And there's no other reason that I have beyond that. I am very, as you know, I am very into my faith, and I have a very good relationship with God, and I feel like I am, the most important thing to me in my life is being obedient to God's word. And when I hear him speak, I listen and I do what I'm told to do, and that is what he told me to do, so that is what I did. As far as Jason and Savannah, I have no intentions of sending them to public school ever. I don't ever have intentions of doing that. If the time comes and I feel like the Lord is telling me or putting it on my heart to do so, I have absolutely no problem in doing so. I will listen and I will be obedient as I was this time. Cameron's doing really well. Although I said that he qualified for all of those honors courses, we talked to him about it, and we decided to hold off on sending him in or putting him in any of those honors classes. Those honors classes would really separate him from from being around different crowds. And while I want that, I definitely want that for him, it's not something that he wants right now. He is nervous about it because it is high school. He is taking on so much at one time. He hasn't been to a traditional school setting in 3 years. And when he last went to school, he was in 6th grade. Now he's a freshman in high school. And so we are holding off on putting him in honors classes. He leaves for school at around 6 o'clock in the morning, and we don't see him until 6 o'clock in the afternoon, because after school, he goes straight to football, and he is in football from the time he gets out of school until 6 o'clock. We actually pick him up at 5:45, but we don't get back home until after 6. So there's that. So he has a lot of new things that are happening right now for him. So I felt like it was best to hold off on, honors classes and things like that until I feel like he has a good grasp on being in high school, being around the other kids. It's a lot of kids in his class, or in the school in general. It's a very large school, and so we're just taking it slow because you guys know how I am. There's no rush. I feel like I don't want him to burn out. I don't want him to be overwhelmed, and so we will revisit the honors classes and all of that once football is over, and once he'll go into track season, and it will be a lot less taxing on him mentally and physically, and he'll be home more days throughout the week. So with that being said, in January we will revisit, and I've already discussed that with his counselor. His counselor is very aware that I want him in those courses, but it's not the best time. And his counselor actually agreed that it's not the best time. Let him get acclimated to everything. So I know every child usually starts off with good grades, but I thought that I would share with you right now where he is. So he has all A's in all of his classes. He has taken a few tests in some of his different classes. He has been in school now for almost a month, so I think it's been 3 weeks. Next week will be a month that he's been in school. He's still holding his A's in all of his classes. He actually got a 97 on a quiz that he took in, what was it? History? Yes, I believe it was history, and he wanted 100%, so he retook it. Some of the benefits that I've seen from homeschooling is his ability to use his critical thinking skills. Just hearing some of the stories from emails from his teachers, as well as stories that he tells me. He is also extremely resourceful. So at his school, because it's so large, he had to get put on a waiting list to get a locker. So did a lot of other freshmen, and he was having they put the kids in charge of checking to see if their lockers are available, finding their lockers, all of that. It's a huge step. Not everything I agree with, but that's the process, and that's the way that it is, and that's a place that he wanted to be. So he handles all of that on his own. We get emails every day. We can check his grades online every day. His attendance is emailed to me, so I feel comfortable in that aspect. Something else was that he was having a hard time logging onto his portal. They would tell him every day to log onto his portal, all of that. I could log on to my portal. Myself and Jeremy, we could log on to the parent portal. We were getting all the information, but he was not. He was getting an error code every time. And I mentioned to him that we would have to reach out to technical support. Well, he took it upon himself when he went to school to make time in his day to go to tech support and get everything resolved. And so to me, that might be a small thing, but if I feel like before he would have just waited for me to do that, for me to fix it all for him and for me to figure it out. Homeschool taught him to be a bit more independent, a lot more independent actually. He is comfortable advocating for himself throughout the school. He is comfortable going to the office when he feels like he needs assistance with something. If he doesn't understand something, he's comfortable asking questions. Socially, he was nervous because it was such a big, crowd of kids. So he was nervous going in, but he's doing great. He's doing really well. He's doing well being on the football team. And so I'm very proud of him. So I figured that I would go ahead and share with you guys that Cameron is no longer being homeschooled. It was hard for me to share with you guys because I know that some of you watch my videos because of Cam, because he's homeschooled, because generally a lot of times you see that moms put their kids back in school when it gets to high school, to the high school years, but I didn't want that to be the reason why I kept him home if I felt like he was supposed to be somewhere else. And that's what I felt. And so if I disappointed you, I'm so sorry that I disappointed you. Strongly encourage you to still continue to homeschool your babies if you feel like that's the right thing to do. At this time, I am focusing on Jason, Savannah, and getting them where they need to be. I am focusing heavily on Savannah's phonics and reading. That is where she needs the most help. So that has been where my days have been. That's where most of my time has been with her, just getting her reading where she needs to be. A question that I got that I remember seeing was, why don't I do more school with the two together? So with Jason and Savannah, why don't I combine more subjects? And I don't combine more subjects because my kids are on two completely different levels, and it would not benefit either one of them if I combine their schoolwork. I know, or if I combine their subjects. I know that a lot of parents do it, but for me, I have the time to separate them and let them do their own things separately, individually. And so I just do it. Jace is at a second grade level. He is in first grade, and Savannah is really at a kindergarten level. And so if I had my kindergartner doing second grade work, her confidence would be, even lower than where it is right now. She is very shy and timid, and I feel like her ability to reading has a lot to do with the confidence that she needs. And so I'm working on increasing her confidence and letting her know that she is perfectly fine exactly where she is. She sees her older brothers and she sees that they're reading, and Jason can sit and read books when we tell him to, and she's not able to do that yet at the pace that she'd like to be at. She's just eager to learn, but she's not yet understanding a lot of different things. And so I'm not going to get into all of that right now, but I just thought that I'd answer that question for you really briefly as to why I don't school them, like do all of their subjects together, like do their English together, their reading together, their math together. They're on two different levels. Remember that Jay started school, honestly, I know it sounds crazy, but he started school when he was 1.5. Was it 1.5 or 2.5? I can't even remember. Maybe 2.5. I'm going to go with 2.5. But he started school when he was 2.5, and Savannah didn't start until she was 4. And so that 2.5 to he's 6.5 right now, that difference of starting school 2 years later for her, it really made a big difference. He was like my experiment. I poured everything into making sure that I was doing everything that I could with him. And so with Savannah, I'm going at her pace, and I'm working on my baby independently and making sure that I'm building her independence, her individual confidence. And so that is where we are. Our days are pretty much the same. It's not much different because Cameron was so independent when he was home. So it's just pretty much the same thing. I do miss him a lot when he is gone, but I'm very excited to see him when he comes home. We all are very excited to see him. My husband is home. He works from home, so we're always here, and he was here with us, and now he's not. And so I do get sad and I do get emotional about it, but it's okay. He comes home and he's excited to see us, and I'm excited to see him. And so there's that. Okay. All right. So now I need to end this video because I am going to be a hot mess if I do not. So I'm going to say thank you guys so much for being here. Until next time, take care, friends, and have a beautiful day.